I've been doing some touch-up painting around here today, but I want to recall there's a channel called I want to get this right. Philippine expat and life in the Philippines. I think that might be correct. He's a British guy, something along that line, a very heavy British accent. And he was kind of relaying a story about how he got just so absolutely scammed by a Filipina. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road out here. And is so this kind of stuff is so prevalent. It's not like it hasn't been talked about. It's a common dialogue on here in the Philippines with vloggers. I think the guy's channel is Philippines expat life in the Philippines, something like that. You might be familiar with this chap. He's I don't know. I guess he's British by his accent, very heavy accent, I might say. And he was relaying a story. Hey, brisket. Now I got through some little touch-up painting around here today. I've been a little bit busy this morning, but I had time to. I guess I subscribed to him, and that's why his thing came out, and I went to look at it. And you got to listen to this guy's story. If it is correct, oh, I have no reference point to cite. I believe it's Philippines expat and life in the Philippines. So if you haven't seen this show, you might want to listen to his. I think it was his last story on there. Boy, did this guy get flim-flammed. Oh my God. Well, let's talk about his story first of all, and we'll go on from there. So I don't know. He met this Filipina, and she wasn't, it wasn't a big age gap, 12 years, and it wasn't even by his own admittance the most attractive. She was kind of stocky built, but whatever, you know. Uh, so I don't know. She came up with and how long he was seeing her. I don't know. I don't know. He's either broadcasting from Britain. I don't know what he's doing right now. But to get to the meat and bones of this thing, a relatively short period of time, she convinced him it would be kind of a good idea to buy a house. I mean, I'm talking about a short period of time. All right, once I get all situated, he spent a couple of million on that. Okay. Not knowing anything about a background either. Um, all the details in this, you'd have to listen to his story. He's the only best storyteller, could tell it like it really is. So it was a good idea. Maybe, she said, build a sorry, sorry store. He gave into that too. Okay, good idea. The house is on the corner, and it was kind of a larger size sorry, sorry store. They got that going, but the money was going out somewhere. He wasn't seeing any of it. He bought a motorcycle for her and a motorcycle for himself. Okay, get the picture here. And he got into a deep discussion with her about, where's all this money going in the store? And apparently this is not new to her, as far as in, I don't know, one thing got into an argument and she threatened him with a knife. Threatened him with a knife. He got out of there, but he went to go talk to her father. But she got on a motorcycle quicker than he could. They both met at the father's house, and he told the father what was going on, that she came to him with a knife and he slapped her in the face. Apparently he knows a little more about it than this guy does. Hello. Hello, Newman. Yeah. Um, so one thing comes to another. He's out maybe 4 million when the smoke clears. And he got out of that situation. She was married. But the father said, don't worry about it. They do that a lot out here, blah, blah, blah. We'll go over this talk about, your wife is married or your girlfriend's married or something like that. Okay, but that was not any upfront information that she ever gave to him. Okay, and she had in fact a couple of children too, if I'm not mistaken. But listen to his story because he's going to tell it better than I could. I think it's called Philippines Expat and Life in the Philippines. And this guy got just wham bammed. Now, unfortunately, hello. Unfortunately, hate to say this, but you all know this. This is a common occurrence here in the Philippines. You don't know who to trust. You just don't know. The other guy, there's another show on there you're familiar with, something in Jim, a weird, oh God. Boy, I'm telling you, I see so many of these things that it's hard to keep track of all these shows' names. Something in Jessica, there's so many stories. There's so many stories on here. And unfortunately, you have to understand one thing. And I've lived out here a long time. I could talk about this, and I know about things like this. Um, you really have to spend the time. If you're going to invest your time and or money or motion in a Filipina, you have to spend the time to do your own investigation. And you have to find out all you can. And sometimes, if they did introduce you to the family initially, what you got to do is be friendly and on the sneak kind of act like you know everything about her or something. Just ask about certain things. You'd be surprised what comes out. You'd be awfully surprised. Whether she has children, whether, um, I don't know, whether she's a psycho case or something. And it's so important. Jim and Dexel, that's another one. Yeah, Jim and Dexel. Yeah, thank you. Thank goodness for my viewers because there are so many YouTube channels out there that if I had to quote the names of all these channels, I could relate them with their character rather than the name of their show sometimes because there's so many of them out there. I just can't keep track. Ricky does a good job of that. I don't know. He lives for that stuff and tries to find problems with people. But Ricky's show, by the way, last night. What a disaster. He had these, I don't even know if they were real ladies or not. You know his reputation. They was just pouring all over him. He had a bill of over 8,000, 9,000 pesos in drinks that he bought these three women. And I thought also on that situation, how shallow, how desperate that you gotta, well, unfortunately, Big Kevin's been doing that too. He must have learned from Ricky that the only way you're going to get attention from a woman is to buy their time, which is really sad that anybody has to go through that. You have to reach a level of loneliness that is just really remarkable. And you're not living the life because you're surrounded with Filipinas. When the money runs out, so do they. You're buying drinks. As long as the free drinks, and they're probably all alcoholics by now, because that's generally in a bar that the owner allows them to cavort with the customers as long as he's buying drinks. Because the owner of the bar makes money. He's buying drinks for himself. He's buying drinks for the girls. And I would not be surprised if these women are actually alcoholics, according to how long they've been in the business. Something to consider. But in Ricky's case, big man on campus, dishing out over 8,000, 9,000 pesos on drinks for, kind of less desirable women, covered with tattoos and not even sure if they're even real women, but kind of has a reputation for that too, doesn't he? It was, it's actually, no matter how much you might not like the guy, you can't help, and people like him, you can't help sometimes feeling sad for these people. That they have to go through life in that loneliness, that the only way they can get company is to buy drinks. Of course, the girl's going to be pouring all over him and all that shit. He was drunker than a skunk. You've seen his face in there. He was just, I don't know how he didn't have a heart attack right there. I just really don't know. His obesity and everything. I don't. He is a stick of dynamite that's ready to go off. And you know how everybody's dropping like flies on here. Ricky is definitely on that list. I mean, there is no question about it. Don't be surprised if you hear in the future that something does happen to him. I don't know if you'll. I don't really know how you'd even know about it. Really, you just won't hear him on. I don't think he has anybody by his side or anybody that's gonna go on YouTube and make an announcement and say that he passed away from liver disease or heart disease or something. You probably would not even know it, right? So if you don't hear him on for a long time, you could pretty much figure out that things didn't go well for him, physiologically. Yeah, she did. Of course she did. Oh, I'm just really laid back today. They went out to the beach area, to the cliff area. I guess she wanted to get in the water too. I was going to come, and last minute I said, nah, I didn't feel like going. Because when they go there, they're there for like at least 3 hours. It's starting to get warm out too and all that. Sorry, but I'm an old man. And I don't like being out in the heat for 3 hours straight in the sun. It's not for me. There's no shelter there, a couple of trees maybe where she was going. But I decided not to go down there. Okay, so moving on. If you spend the time to watch different vloggers on here, hello, Carl. If you spend the time, are you really Ian? I don't know. Anyway, if you spend the time to listen to some shows, or maybe it's somebody that you never listened to before, listen to their stories. I cannot impress upon you, hard enough to make you understand. So let me give you like a mild example. There's like expectations. Doesn't have to be a woman. We have a driver that we use a lot, and we used him for a long time. And he knew that, my girlfriend was having a birthday party and all that shit, big soiree. Um, and then he had actually texted her and asked her if she had any leftovers. I said, he really did that? Oh, they're not afraid of expressing themselves that way. I mean, look, he's my driver. He's not a personal friend. But keep in mind, we have been generous to him and we'll generally overpay. And he invited himself to a birthday dinner at a restaurant. He was driving us around. And we didn't even know he was drunk. It was after that I didn't use him for quite a while. He was driving us and the kids around. And the guy was drunk. Then he had a Red Bull or whatever he had, San Miguel or something at the restaurant. But he had texted her overnight or this morning, do you have any leftovers from the party? Maybe he felt that he needed to be invited. You got to separate business and friendship, and I can't emphasize that enough. He's not a personal friend of ours. Okay. And he has provided service for us, but you see, he gets taken care of very well. And I would not be surprised at best, but we have the electric bike thing here now. Electric trike, whatever you want to, yeah. So we don't use the service as often, but we still do. I would think I was at least about a third of his income every single month. About a third. Did you manage to resist getting on the karaoke? Sweet Home Alabama, huh? That would have been... Oh, man. Dude, tell you the truth, I wasn't thinking about something like that, and that... We could have looked up that song, and that would have been an excellent idea, actually. Where the skies are so blue. I couldn't picture myself living in the South, I could tell you that right now. Couldn't picture living in the South. I've passed through the South, through a couple of states. I just couldn't see myself living in the South. That lifestyle, and culture of the South. I mean, I don't care if it's New Orleans, Alabama, I don't care what it is. Nah, that would never be for me. Yeah, I would have made a funny video, yeah. No, I'm not impressed with the South. I've never been. I've never lived in the South. In fact, every place I've ever lived in my life was north. It was north of a city. It was in the north area. I don't know how that wound up. It wasn't purposeful, but I lived the north. Anywhere I lived, when I lived in Seattle, I lived in North Seattle. When I lived in Mount Vernon, New York, it was more northern. Okay, and I didn't live at the southern tip of Hawaii Island. Everything was north. Here in Hawaii, I'm considered, well, kind of on the north side of Cebu. Everything north. I don't know, by design, by quinky dinky. I don't know, but I've never been impressed with the South. There's nothing about the South that I know of that is impressive to me. Lifestyle, culture, I just, no, no. You couldn't give me a house there free of charge and live in the South. We are going to get slammed with snow tomorrow. And where are you? Where are you living? I don't miss the snow either, man. Hell no. As a kid, yeah, it's fun to go out and just sled in the snow and play and make snowmen and throw snowballs. As an adult, when I lived in Seattle, I've lived through a few pretty good sized snowstorms there, that region. We had 14 inches or more one day. Couldn't get my 4x4 out of the driveway. It's fun for the kids, but then you feel very isolated. You feel trapped because the road in front of the house was an incline. Then you had to go to the next road that led to another incline. Then you had to go to another main arterial that had is a big incline. Meanwhile, it's all icy and snowy. So you felt trapped. And I don't like feeling trapped in anything. New Jersey, oh, poor you. No, I don't. The only thing there's a couple things I miss about the East Coast. I loved the season of autumn, fall. It was so pretty. I miss that. How colorful the leaves are, like a wonderland. Of course, the further north you go up the coast, New England coast, it gets better and better. Just incredible. And of course, I miss the food on the East Coast. Those are the two things I miss. Well, I could add another thing in there too, I guess. State of mind, in a way. New Yorkers were creative. They were out-of-the-box thinkers. And it was a huge melting pot of society. A league of all nations. I mean, New York was just chock full, if you want to experience culture. New York, better example than that, culture everywhere. Every kind of food that you wanted was in New York. Somewhere. Authentic food, you could find authentic food of Italian, Mexican, Chinese, real food. You had real butcher shops with real butchers. They cut the meat to your likeness. Have all the big thing hanging salamis and seasoned, cheeses and all the Italian food you can get. They could slice your meat up ultra thin with your machine if you want to make like chicken cutlets, which I call it. Slice up a roast beef into nice sandwich, as thin for a sandwich. And it's just so many things I could say about New York, but I grew out of it. It was a rat race, though. No matter what New York offered, it was a rat race, literally. There were more rats if you were in New York City, for example. I didn't live in New York City, but went there for school. There were more rats. The rats outnumbered the people by I don't know how many times. If you ever went out at night, you'll see any hole in the wall, sewer, whatever, rats would be climbing out of that shit. Just nasty. Fantastic food from every ethnicity. Can't beat it. Yeah. Even New Jersey, too. Same thing. Same thing, New Jersey. Hello. Food. I miss the food. But in a way, it's a good thing. Because too much of a good thing is not good. Because a lot of the foods I liked in New York were probably not the healthiest things. I mean, a real Frankfurter, soubrette. They used to have all these stands in the street made by Soubrette Company. If you ever went in New York, even in New Jersey perhaps, Soubrette, they had the hot dog stands with the umbrella there. Okay, what do you have with that? Sauerkraut, mustard, onion, what do you want on that? Ketchup? You know what they charge for a hot dog these days in the stand? If I'm not mistaken, $8 to $10 for a fucking hot dog. I'm not shitting you. $8 to $10 for a fucking hot dog. And he could buy those things wholesale for like, $1 a package. And each individual, so say $10 per hot dog, and an average pack might have 8. He's making like, I don't know, 70-something dollar profit on each pack of hot dog. It only has this little butane thing that, heats up the hot dogs, to cook them. Spend money on propane or something. That's an excellent business. Oh, yeah. Not anymore. If you could snap your fingers, which food do you think would you blink to your house? There's a number of things. Not necessarily Italian. Really good Chinese food. I mean, authentic Chinese food that I used to enjoy in New York. Really good chow mein, really good, chicken chow mein and so forth. I would think that would be on the top list. The other thing, what would it be? Well, I used to like making roast beef now and then, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything of quality that you buy like a big old 6-pound roast beef or something, a good quality beef, and make a roast beef, and you can make sandwiches out of that, and real. Well, you can get provolone cheese out here, but a tiny little slice could cost you like fucking $4 or something, $5 for nothing but a thin slice of it. I love provolone, good Italian provolone, aged. That's one cheese that I guess that would be probably one of my favorite cheeses, provolone. Man, you make a sandwich of that, and you add anything to the sandwich, ham or whatever, you know, man, you can't beat that. That would take a lot of thinking, really. Oh, we had them in Washington State. What we had was, Greek, good Greek food. Souvlaki, gyros. Oh, there was a place in New York City. And there was actually a place when I lived in Washington, outside of Seattle, up in the next town and 2 towns over in Linwood. They had a Greek joint there. Oh my, they were kind of expensive, but I used to take my daughter there. And this was some good shit. They got their own, I don't think it's, what is it, sour cream they put on there? I don't know. But a good, gyros, souvlaki. Yeah, I like that. In fact, it's mouth-watering just to think about it. And that would be on my list too. It's better than a taco or anything like that, you know. But souvlaki, gyros, and some other, you know, Greek favorites. And man, I'm telling you, if it was done right, I might have been eating lamb in New York City. Didn't even know it. A lot of places give you a choice of your chicken, beef, or lamb. It's basically the Greeks, they use lamb. And I never purposely or voluntarily would ever eat lamb meat. I don't know, Bambi or something, whatever. Not Bambi, but I don't know. You know, and veal, I've only eaten veal maybe a few times when my parents bought it. Instead of making chicken parmesan, she bought some veal. I guess it was pretty tasty, but I've never had veal since that time. I never had veal. I'm trying to remember what it tastes like, but I go by my old standbys of, you know, beef, chicken, and stuff like that. I don't, maybe I'm afraid to taste some exotic foods or something. I don't know. Those roast beef Greek places in North Shore, MA was great. Yeah, good roast beef. I mean, anybody could make a Philly sandwich, you know. You get the right slices of beef and everything else. Anybody. They're calling it authentic Philly sandwiches, you know. They're really good. They're really. And I don't know what the difference is between each state. And one place will claim that we make the big, you know, Philadelphia, whatever, we make the best sandwiches. That's debatable. There's a lot of people make what they call Philly sandwiches, but how authentic they are and what they do differently than somebody else would do, I really don't know. Well, you never hear of veal around here in the Philippines. Maybe that's why I like it, because it was beef. I always thought veal was like lamb or something or some shit like that. That's how much I know about veal because I've only eaten it unknowingly once or twice when I was a really, really, really young kid. Well, you always heard of veal parmesan, right? Oh yeah, that's very popular Italians. I really didn't know it was beef. Honestly, I don't know you know, veal is something that I never eat. Yeah, those poor little young cows and the way they prepare the slaughter. I didn't want to think about that. Some of it is inhumane. Well, no cow knows its future. I don't know. Wait, maybe we were meant to eat that because we got incisor teeth. You know, we have. And then when you look at a cow out in the field, and I see them every day, right across the road, every single day. And sometimes you can hear 'em mooing loud enough to be heard in my house, if they're close enough. All they do is eat grass all day. That's their life. And I don't know what other purposes they serve. I really don't. What purposes do cows serve? Well, milk, yeah, milk. But, you know, basically it's food, right? Food for us so-called, you know, top of the chain beings. But yeah, I think about that all the time. I'm eating these animals that they deserve to live. Sure, my mind is expanded enough to be able to kind of ascertain what exactly I'm eating. I'm eating the dead flesh of another animal, and that sounds gross. Look, most children that they're eating McDonald's hamburgers and shit, they don't even know what the fuck it is. Maybe their parents just took them to the zoo and they saw old Elsie there or somebody or whatever. Oh, I want to see the cow. They have no idea that this animal in the zoo is something they've been eating. And it takes a while for a little child as he grows to understand what a hamburger really is. But these days, you still don't know what a hamburger is. You don't know if you're getting real beef in there or soy protein or whatever they put in there. Go look up about all the burger and all the McDonald's, Burger King, and shit. What they have in those hamburgers. There's a lot of controversy over this stuff. Seriously. Kids don't know what they're eating that young. All I know is it tastes good. Hot dog, hamburgers. They love hamburgers. They don't know it's the dead flesh of an animal. They don't know. They just eat it. They know it tastes good. I know. I don't want to. I know. Don't even mention it. Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah. I know. I've seen things on TV and all that stuff. I've never been to a slaughterhouse, but I've seen enough. I've seen enough documentaries or different things, and it's just some animals. The bad thing about it, they have certain pigs and different animals that are locked up in a little fencing thing where it's only enough room for them to eat. That's all they do. They never could touch or feel, another pig or whatever the animal is. They're just kept, and they're just being fed. Their pens getting cleaned out. They don't get to run around. It's horrible. It's horrible. But we eat the meat. We're used to it. It's part of our diets. A lot of us, some are vegetarians. Then you get the radical crowd and says that, plants have feelings too. They have an intelligence. So what the fuck do we eat? What do we eat? Seriously, what do we eat? I used to joke, let's go eat grass. I wasn't really joking. Because everything you read on the internet is so much bullshit. As I said, I talk about this a lot. You don't know what to eat. You may have a medical condition, or you want to do a preventative measure or something so you don't get stones or whatever it might be. They're going to tell you, oh yeah, it's okay to eat. It's good for your kidneys and every damn thing else. Next article. Oh no, this contains a lot of oxalates and it's not conducive to good kidney health or can create kidney stones. I don't know. Just eat. Just eat. And I said in the show yesterday, eat in moderation. That's all. That's probably the best thing you could do. Eat in moderation. That's the best advice I could give you. Whatever else you want to do with your life, you do. But eat in moderation. Take supplements or don't take supplements. It's not imperative to me. I just preach this stuff, but I do practice what I preach. So on what I do eat, shouldn't eat, plan to eat, or continually eat, or how I supplement is no big guessing game with me, because I talk about it all the time. Only thing I can tell you is that I'm still alive. I guess I'm doing something right. Yeah, I've heard about that too. There's on the East Coast, the water in New York that's why New York makes the best bagels. It's something about the water. I don't know why. They said that New York had, believe it or not, a filthy place like New York, but they have the best purified water in the country. The best purified water. I mean, Barry is free. Nothing I heard. I highly doubt it, because he has a legal case on him. Free meaning that bail. Well, somebody would have to come up with the bail, first of all. Okay. Well, I'm sure that's what it is. No, he ain't going anywhere. That I can guarantee you. But anyway, just eat what you feel is right for you. Just eat the right amount. Don't have to worry about getting obese like Ricky and people like that, and you'll probably be okay. curb down on anything that you do that's bad. That could help. Oh, they're all back. They're back. They are back. Well, how was the beach? Hold on, folks. Okay, we're back here. But yeah, there is certain things I do miss about the East Coast. But would I ever want to live there again? No. No. Couldn't afford to. Nobody could. Everybody's getting priced out in the United States. Of course, there's plane loads of people that are leaving the United States for political reasons, for economical reasons. It's a mass exodus of people that are leaving. At the same time, you got a lot of people moving into the country, land of opportunity. I want to be in America, got to live in America. I want to be in America. Now there's more foreigners in America than there is Americans. And if you don't trust that statement, go to big towns like LA or New York or something like that and tell me what you see. Go to small town America and see what you see. I understand that foreigners are actually taking over towns. Illegal. They're taking over towns. Boosting everybody else out of there. It's a travesty, man. That's an old video or something. Carl, did you prefer any vitamin manufacturers over the others? So many to choose from. I don't know. I go with nature. Generally nature made, if I could find it. Nature made is a good solid supplements. Nature made is good. Go down the line. There might be Nature's Bounty. There might be another one. The stuff that comes from Costco, or do you find it at SNR, type stuff. Kirkland brand. Kirkland brand is midline. It's midline. You should maybe go in, Costco and even SNR and get these big ass bottles of things like C and stuff like that. I've had them before, and I even probably have a Kirkland product here. Speaking of, I haven't taken anything today, as far as any vitamins or anything today. Sometimes I skip a day, but certain things I do take all the time. Remember, there's no guarantees in life, man. Financially, physiologically, your body. There's no guarantees. Just live each day and just try to do a few things that's going to benefit you. You might not think it's benefiting you, but it actually is. Like I said, I reached my age. I'm still kicking. I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm not laden in bed. I'm still kicking. So I'm doing something right. Yeah, that's always a concern, Carl. Trump and Social Security. Yes, the U.S. has changed. I don't even recognize it anymore. I really don't. There's some people that, well, I kind of did that in a way. When I was living in Hawaii, I was living in I don't know, semi-rural area, The houses were separated a little bit since now they were all on top of each other in the little place I lived. Everybody built up. They bought land before prices got any higher. Buying land like there was no tomorrow. Remember, Hawaii only has so much land. And there's land that's totally unusable, you know, desert areas, probably they still build resorts there. Mountains that might be inaccessible, there might be, which is all owned by state anyway. A lot of that's just all owned by the state. And the wilderness areas, you know, they call wilderness a mountain. You know, everything's owned by the state. But you could live semi-rural, and that's good because you're not in a big sprawling city. It's generally very quiet. Where I lived was generally very quiet. You go about your business and you go about your life, you know. But you could out-resource yourself too. Hawaii, how I lasted for 14 years, I don't know. But could have been longer. Well, of course, if I didn't decide to sell the house and move to, well, move out. Well, I was already out of it. I was already out of the country. The time I sold the house, you know, that was later on. I sold the house. I was living in the Philippines, so I don't regret. I have no regrets whatsoever, really. Still don't. It's just too expensive. Oh, you want to get pissed off? Just walk into a Safeway supermarket. They had some good supplies of different shit in there. They had some good stuff. But then you look at the price tags on this shit. And what I used to do, I used to buy the family packs of meats to make meals stretch. For example, I'd buy like a family pack of chicken hindquarters, you know, chicken legs, things like that. And each chicken, quarter, would make a meal. There might be about 6 or 8 of them. I could spread my meals out. That's how I did it. I'd buy some steaks or whatever, like multiple in a package, and use it individually and spread the meals out on that. And that's what I would do. And it worked pretty well. You got to buy the family pack though. But you got to see the sticker price is a shock. But you're not eating it all at once, so you could actually spread your meals out. I didn't buy a house, I had it built. I owned 2 acres of land while I was still working and living in Seattle area. I already had paid off 2 acres of land, very cheap, dirt cheap. So I've had it. But then I was getting tired of the job. And Seattle, let me see, referring to, when I was living in Seattle, moved to Hawaii. Seattle was getting pretty played out for me. It was going through a lot of changes, more drugs, more illegal immigrants moving in. Crime rate was going through the roof. People were shooting up all over the streets, in their arms. And it just went crazy. So everything I did had some really good timing to it, I must say. Really good timing. It kind of worked out well. It worked out pretty well. And of course, when I sold my house in Hawaii, it was a seller's market. Thank goodness for that. I really didn't think I could make much off that house because I never thought about it because I never had any idea of selling it really. But then we had a buyer, but he couldn't come through his financing. I finally got somebody. And I was surprised how much I got over what I owed on my mortgage, minus about $18,000 on a old credit card. Oh, I forgot what the hell it was. You mandatory have to pay that. You have to pay that. So I could have made another 18 on top of what I made, but there's no big deal. I made a fair amount on the house, What did I make on that sucker? Oh. 3, 4, 5. I don't know, it was close to 300,000, I think I made. Somewhat. It's been a while. close to about 300,000. Yeah. So that kind of worked out. The mortgage paid off, and any creditors paid off, and there's only one creditor really. Came to about 18. So it's about a close to 300,000. Yeah. Don't know how the average Joe with a family could afford one there in New Jersey. Yeah, all over, man. Yeah, it was close to 300,000. Yeah, that's a good chunk of change. I took that with me to here. Bought a house, but unlike the guy I was talking about, I didn't buy a house after a relatively short time of knowing a Filipina. Oh, hell no. 6 years into the relationship, approximately, is when I bought the house. So it's not like I'm a fucking simp or anything like that. 6 years. That's acceptable at any fucking level. 6 years. Shh. Girls, hold on. There's something I have to do. Hello. I gotta go. Okay, why don't you hold on, guys? Be right with you. Getting back to the Philippines real quick here, which was the topic really. Come on, come aside. Don't put your don't put your guard down out here, because it is critical that when you're living in a developing country like this. Now, Filipinos are good people until you piss them off. Until you piss them off, either intentionally or unintentionally. And there is a lot of jealousy, that is true, of foreigners. You got to keep your eyes peeled all the time, really. I don't want to try to scare people away from coming to the Philippines, but you really have to understand the culture, the ins and outs. They're very sensitive people, male or female. And they always got that edge on you. Well, a certain amount of edge, not a lot, but they do. Don't get into a heated argument personally with a Filipina in the streets or whatever. Don't do that. You can't even really talk loud in the streets. If you're a very expressive person, you're gonna walk around saying, "Oh, fuck this shit," right? People hear everything you're saying. See, they don't talk that way out here. Culturally, we are so different. We are so radically different. Okay, Carl. Take care. Yeah, I got to get off here pretty soon too. But culturally, we're so different, and they're very sensitive people, and you got to know how to talk to them. Don't talk bad about their president. Okay. Don't treat them with disrespect. I'm not saying that you can't be yourself, but you can't be all full out Western culture person. You have to make some sacrifices. And there's a lot of bugaboos about the Philippines that, you know, you'll hear a lot of expats talk about, whether they're relationships. Always in a relationship, something happens in a relationship where the chick will be taking major advantage of you, and you believe this, and you believe that, you believe this, and you believe that. That doesn't turn out to be that way, and next thing you know, you'll have a family against you. You don't want to get involved in shit like that. You know, if you're scared to buy a property out here, then just rent. Just rent. That's what I did initially. Just rented. You can move whenever you want and all that. But if you're settled down out here and you trust your partner, then you should have no problems at all. There's no reason to have a problem. There's absolutely none. So you shouldn't be that concerned about that. That's what I would say to you on that. Don't have a concern. If you trust your partner, wife, whatever, implicitly, then don't sweat up. Don't sweat it. Live your life. Of course, if you buy a house out here, it's going to be hers. Oh, my battery's down to 2%. The timing is real good here. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off here. Glad to talk to you. I also have to finish some of my touch-up painting here, too. I was kind of taking a break. They just came back, so... if you do really plan to move to the Philippines, my best suggestion is do it with caution. Write down the reasons you want to be here. But by all means, spend some time here before you really want to move out here. It's not for everybody. Sometimes I even wonder, if it wasn't for my girlfriend, would I be out here? There's a lot of nice places to live, but unfortunately, a lot of these other beautiful countries are highly expensive. And that's why people come here. I'm not totally sold on the Philippines, in case you think that. No, I never was. I like it here. I'm used to being here. The people have been good to me. That's what's important. Of course, my girlfriend has a family here. She ain't moving anywhere else. But you gotta have a reason to stay. It's a very complicated culture. You have to dive into that culture, understand all the, you know, ins and outs. What to do, what not to do, how you show respect, what you shouldn't do, how to approach a Filipino. You can't be like way out. They're not used to that. You can't be in their face, kind of talking. They don't know you. You're in their face. They feel uncomfortable. There's so much things on the list that you got to take into consideration. It's not for everybody. I like it here, but I have a partner who born and raised here and's got a big family out here. I don't want to have to take her away from anything like this. Just, choose carefully. There's a lot of places to live. Would I live in Asia after this if I don't know. I couldn't afford to live in Switzerland. It can get pretty cold there too. It's too expensive. Spain. Spain's a nice place. Learn a lot more Spanish. It's a beautiful place. I understand. There's a lot of places. I used to think of Ecuador at one time before I thought about the Philippines. There's a lot of great places to live. But if you're already all situated out here and you're all settled in, then you are where you're at. There's got to be a reason you're staying out here, no matter what the reason is. A partner, the cost of living and stuff like that, which is a big issue. It's not just a woman. The cost of living is a real big thing. There's a lot of foreigners making decisions to come out here. But is it for everybody? Is it something for everybody out here? No, it's not. It's not for everybody. You got to have good reason to come out here. I'll be straight up with you. You have to have a good reason to be in the Philippines. With that being said, have a good day, gentlemen.